Hopefully we're up and running. There's a slight delay. I hope I will be up in a second. So let's just check that again. The software's up and running. We've got the stream on. So hopefully I will appear. This looks like, yeah, some action. Check that again. The software's up and running. Okay, there's a marginal delay, so I will be passing the urgent ones on Telegram verbally. If there's a extreme time, this looks like problem. Yeah. If you can see and hear me okay, if you just say a quick hello on the chat, and then we can get up and running. So I'll get rid of a couple of these. Hi, Alan. Yeah, just took a bit of refreshing, so we're up and running. So I'm working on as many of those overs ideas as I can. I think I've got it nearly there. Choice of match will be obviously important. So let's look at the ones before the goals come in. Don't forget Hoffenheim. It's beginning. Let's have a look and see if first half goals 2.5 will be working with the mighty Hoff, not Hoffenheim, Bayer Leverkusen, of course. We have got 15 to 20 minutes out of them in the past. This must be under Bayer, perhaps. No, Leverkusen then. Yep, Holstein Kiel, newly promoted Holstein Kiel, should be on the end of an absolute battering today. So over 2.5, must have been a goal already. Or it's a little liquid. Ajaccio and Martigues in French Ligue 2, both red carded, so I'm not going to be interested in, I think, no, could be 2 consecutive red cards for Ajaccio. Martigues are newly promoted. So do you trust Martigues? They did equalise after the previous red card. There's the goal from Leverkusen. I didn't get on in time. 5 minutes in. And we're up and running. You can't dally with Leverkusen, and that is good odds. First half goals, 2.5 for this kind of a side against a newly promoted side. Wow. They did get a 1-0 midweek. That's very rare for Leverkusen, but you can just see now it's going to be a decent odds drop as well. So I hope you got on before me. Or maybe that goal's not allowed because 1.7 is very high if the goal has been scored. It's come up on Football 24. Hello, everyone. Gary, Stephen, Tim, Nick, Brian, Zibby and Alan again. So let's just confirm Leverkusen should be on this list. This is a list of all the short price favourites. And indeed, the goal is there. So why on earth is over 2.5 goals, first half goals, so high at 1.74? This could be Arthur C. Clarke's Mysterious World, this one, or the greatest value you've ever seen. Am I missing something? As a trading vehicle, they get a second goal with 40 minutes to go in the first half, and it's not without the realms of possibility given the goal fest that Leverkusen have had before half-time. That, 1.79, first half goals 2.5, with a goal already scored. Am I missing something? I have toyed as well with taking insurance out. It might offer you a little bit of peace of mind. The only problematic scorelines will be the ones between over 1.5 and over 2.5, which will be 1-1, I think. 2-0, 0-2, perhaps, and 1-1. Those are the problematic scorelines. But again, we're looking at this from a trading perspective. Insurance, if you're covering all of the scorelines in the first half under 2 goals, will cost you £6.80. It might be worth doing. So what you're hoping is for a very, very quick 2-0 for Leverkusen. We'll lose that 680, but hopefully we'll make more green on this one. So that's the idea. Don't forget, these neutral plays are all experimental mode at the moment. Okay, I don't have the experience in these markets long term to be ultra confident, but I think the key to success is in the choice of match. That is the key. That's why I've got this initial list here. These are matches you expect goals before half time. Arsenal, Man City, for example, Bolton, Cluj, AEK Athens. These are all based on the short prices. So that's the initial cue. If it's 0-0 after 15 minutes, you back over 2.5 goals, which I've done in these two matches as well. I'm basing this purely on the pre-match odds, suggesting we should see at least 2 goals early on. We should have comfortable home wins as well. So we will be using the traditional trades as well today. And with that, let's have a look at the in-play stats. We'll get rid of some of these. Possibility for Martigues to nick the late win here. They did come from behind in the previous red card to equalise. So keep an eye out on that. They are newly promoted, and that's the negative element there. Rakow, I was keeping an eye on them because they're Polish champions a couple of seasons ago. Again, for an over 2.5 goal play, but I didn't get it on, alas. 32nd minute, you could pretty much be out of that one. With about a 14 quid profit, it tends to be when you get an early goal in the first half, having backed over 2.5 goals. It tends to be £14 to a £40 stake. So that's what you'll be expecting if you just nab a single goal before half time. Pisa Cesena. And yeah, I was looking at contrary-wise for the Italians, because you expect very defensive. But these have been goal fests, Serie B. And they're proving me right. Sassuolo in particular, newly relegated. So that was the only reason I was watching these matches. And you can see, wait for 15 minutes. Here, wait. Well, we couldn't have waited. So that wouldn't have been a qualifier for any overs there. Hammarby, you can see the pre-match odds, 1.38, suggesting a goal before half-time. Guess what the scoreline is? I don't understand 1.79. Somebody has made a serious rick, and if I had a wheelbarrow, I should have emptied it all onto this. What an absolute steal. 1.79 for first half goals, 2.5, with a goal already scored and 40 minutes remaining. You must be howling goal. Mad. Murdoch.
Spezia AC Reggiana is 1-0.
You layers. So I'm out. Bang. That's the perfect play, isn't it? We didn't get on the 2.5 at threes. Look at that already. 9 minutes gone. Threes down to 1.2. So please, please, please do not dally with Bayer Leverkusen in the overs markets this season. I've tried and I've failed. They're just too quickly off the box. Well, Rakow scoring first, so I can get rid of that one. Udinese, I've gone for over 2.5 goals there as well. Just experimenting. Look at their recent matches. You can see all the ticks. 4 consecutive over 2.5 goal matches. And we're talking big guns they're playing. Inter Milan scoring 2 against them. Roma conceded there. But this could fit into the first half goals.
Pisa Cesena is 2-0.
Over 1.5 goals. We can have a look at that now. So experimental mode, as you can see. But neutral betting does really attract, doesn't it? Because there's nothing like getting done
Pisa Cesena is 2-0
by an underdog late on. So we're off to Udinese. Over 1.5 goals. Oh, I've already... I've done that one already earlier. Because I thought 1.65 was extremely good value very early in the match, 20 minutes in. Like we've just done with Leverkusen. You spot extreme value. Wow. And over 2.5 goals, I just think I went over 1.5 goals for that particular match because I saw 1.65 as a bit of value. But this would be one of those. 1.72 makes perfect appeal if you can get a goal before half time. But evens is my usual ploy in that market. It's just the getting out when the goal doesn't arrive. That's the query. That's the problem. Sassuolo goal disallowed to VAR, says Gary. At 1-1 as well for the newly relegated Sassuolo.
This market has been suspended.
So that will be one we can watch with interest. Let's have a look at the German Bundesliga, because we should be seeing goals before half-time for Werder Bremen. So 15 minutes for my neutral idea would be the first entry point, and overs possible here, surely. Freiburg conceding 3 last week will be keen to get back on the front foot. We've got a goal before half-time for Orebro, so that gives me an opportunity to show you the overs in that particular match. We've got a suspended market Udinese as well.
Arbergsbois FC Orebro SK is 0-1.
So that was Orebro. If I did that one, it did ring a bell. It looks as if I didn't place that one. The more I can do, the more distinctions I can make. That's why we've got our shortlist, but I'm trying to go for every single 0-0 at half-time so that we can get some data. And the first bit of data looks to be choosing your matches wisely, because there's been a lot of 0-0s and 1-0 scorelines at full time in some of these 0-0s at half-time. So choose your matches wisely where you're expecting goals before half-time. For example, if for some strange reason Leverkusen happened to be 0-0 at half-time, which it was the other day, I backed over 1.5 goals at evens for Leverkusen. This is what we're talking about. Crazy, crazy value. Evens. And they did only score the single goal because it was Europe against Milan, but it came early in the second half and you were out. Bang. Merry Christmas. Bochum and the Wolf. Don't have a strong opinion on these two. Neither does the market, so be wary. 2.2 the favourite. Union Berlin and Dortmund. It's a very wary market for Dortmund today. 2.05. Maybe it could be the post-Champions League pre-international problem, but they did score 7 against Celtic, so they look in really good nick. But it's very cautious odds today. Maybe it's because the market thinks Union Berlin at home are a little better than they are on the road. So I'll just get rid of a few of these and work our way down. So a bit quiet. This was flagged up for over 2.5 goals today as well. It's again, it's not one I would have normally shortlisted as overs, given Mallorca's defensive capabilities of those couple of 1-0s, but they are scoring and conceding in the last 2. And prior to Real Betis, who were pretty solid units, it was all overs all the way for Espanyol, both teams to score again. So that was a good one. Could you have waited 15 minutes? You could. So there we go. And the betting gods are shining on you. If you get a first goal in the 18th minute, you can get straight out of that with 14 or 15 quid green. So neutrals do appeal greatly. 2-0 to Riga. This was another over 2.5 goal I did, based purely on the odds. I did double up. Again, experimental, backing at 1.79, 2.94. So if that was a single £40 stake, we'd be looking at a £20 loss currently. They were extremely short-priced favourites, Riga. So they were expecting to score a lot more and a lot earlier. And again, it's all about choice of match, isn't it? Because they were involved in Europe midweek. Spanish La Liga, well, that's done and dusted, isn't it? Unless Mallorca fancy a late equaliser, but it's very quiet there. French Ligue 2, again, another one to potentially target for your overs. You can see you don't have to have you can have a neutral position, because it looked as if Guingamp were going to deliver as well with their 11 shots off target. But a neutral position, and you're in. All about the timing of the first goal. Look at that, 17 minutes again. If you wait 15, back over 2.5 goals. 17th minute, 34th as well if you're going to wait till half-time. You normally get a break-even-ish if it's 1-0 at half-time. So it can entice you in to see if you can get that second goal before half-time. It's all very new to me, these markets, but really enjoying trying to suss them out. It's all about the time you enter the market. For example, 15 minutes here, 15 minutes here. So we've got a German Bundesliga, like Bundesliga 2, well renowned for over 2.5 goals. So let's experiment with Werder Bremen, Freiburg, and no, just Werder Bremen and Bochum. Let's have a look at those. Werder Bremen and Bochum. So again, if I could have got 1.5 goals for Riga, would be in. You can see how attractive 1.5 goals is compared to this. Now you're lingering for that third goal, aren't you? Werder Bremen, Freiburg, keeping on the old experiment. Over 2.5 goals. Should be reasonable odds, 2.16. For a side, you tend to see goals before half-time. And the great appeal with this is we've still got 30 minutes to go to see at least a goal before half-time, as we would have seen with Kristiansund if I played them earlier on. I thought I did, but no. Kristiansund have just got that goal. I'm sure I did. Over 2.5 goals.
Goal.
So let me check.
Kristiansund BK Sandefjord is
As you
1-0.
can hear. So over 2.5 goals. We've waited 15 minutes in a league that we know is renowned for goals, and a team in Werder Bremen we know tend to get goals before half-time. Just hope they're in a giving mood today. Union Berlin and Dortmund. I think we've looked at that one, have we? 0-0 after 15 minutes. Again, the longer you delay, of course, the better the odds. But 15 does offer you a chance of getting that important goal before half-time with half an hour to go. Over 2.5 goals in the Dortmund match, having just scored 7. 2.32, looking rather good. You can have a look at the importance of just delaying. You're going from 1.75 up to 2.25. We've had cases in the past where overs has doubled by delaying, which is very attractive indeed. So that's Union Berlin and Dortmund, neutral. Where's the other Bundesliga matches? We've got Bochum and the Wolf as well.
This market has been suspended.
So let's bring up Bochum and the Wolf, and then we can see what happens when goals come in, or if there's no goals at half after 15 minutes. It's all research. Best way to do it is in the real market rather than trying to theorize a strategy. It doesn't work. It's the real world, real emotions, and real decision making in real time. You can't really. There we go. I was just about to head off here. What was over 2.5 goal looking like after 15 minutes? Again, over evens. Did we get a goal? Let's wait and see. Udinese Lecce is 0-0 at half time. Ordinarily, that would enter my 1.5 goals equation, but I've already backed it earlier. Let's have a look and see. Having delayed with Udinese, if you would have got better odds. So we'll keep an eye on Bochum if it unsuspends. Looks as if it does. So backing overs. Because I've chosen the Bundesliga today, it looks appealing as far as the goals is concerned. Similar story in the public. You've got to be very wary. All those teams chock full of internationals. Liverpool made a lot of changes today. Even though they've got strength in depth, they made a lot of changes, necessary changes because of the Champions League and the upcoming international break, where the international managers will be pressuring them, I'm sure, the managers, to just rest some of the big guns. 3 o'clock's about to begin. We'll have to be prepared or organised for an overs assault. So we've got all the Bundesliga covered for overs. It's normally a league that can deliver, as you can see there. Look at that, 7-5-3-5, 3-3-2-6-2 goals in total in recent matches. Unbelievable, Jeff. So let's just hope it's not a Freiburg 1, Werder Bremen 0 head-to-head today. Traditional trades, well, we're probably going to see a lot of them come 3 o'clock. While we're a little quiet, let's just collect our odds on favourites and make sure that I prefer it in league order. I think this is in time order. So let's just do that. The collecting of odds on favourites will help shortlist. And we've got a goal for Bochum, which is a pity. 21st minute for Wolfsburg. Now you're going to see the impact of over 2.5 goals. I did get on. Fabulous. There we go. That's the impact. And I did tell you, 14 quid or thereabouts. So that's what you're expecting if you get that goal before half-time, having backed over 2.5 goals after 15 minutes. 14, 15, 16 quid. That tends to be the norm. Don't cash out just yet. Just wait for these to tighten up. I did, in my enthusiasm before, cash out of illiquid markets. So you're missing out on profit. Just wait for this to tighten up. You have to be a little patient. It's just an illiquid market. 20 grand matched. It's better than some other markets. You're getting a little tighter, but I suppose we're never going to get 1.4, 1.41 or 1.42. That's probably the nearest we're going to get. But 17 quid, you're in and out. There we go. Just a bit of patience, and we're getting tighter, as you can see. So let's get out. That's a good return, isn't it? And you can unlock that green. Now your second option, and I should have stayed in really, is to see what these odds are going to look like at half time if it remains 1-0, because it can give you the incentive to look for that second goal. And that second goal guarantees. So this will be interesting if we get to half time, whether this works its way back up to this, where you can get out of that trade with a break even, having tried to search for 2 goals and a bigger profit, but not taking the green that was available after the first goal. So this will be interesting once we get to half time, how high this rises if we remain with 1 goal. So plenty to learn in these neutral markets, but as you can see, they are very appealing indeed. Let's do our odds-ons. Brentford, no, they weren't odds-on. And we've got plenty of over 2.5 goals possibles, don't we? Bournemouth and Leicester really mouth-watering. Man City, of course. Arsenal eyeing 2 goals yet again. Saints, 10-man defence. Matt Letizia up front, no problem. Or 10 goalkeepers and Matt Letizia up front, I think will be a good move for the Southampton manager today. Everton, Newcastle. Well, I wouldn't dismiss this from an overs perspective. Everton have got 2 goals in the locker consistently, haven't they? Yes, you can talk all day about them falling apart, and we have profited from that quite nicely. Penalty for Union Berlin. Let's just break off and have a look at the impact that will or might have on the market. And the great thing about this now, you can keep this up. I've just got to make sure of, the bottom one. Let's see if I can find that one. So I just might have to check. I'm sure I put them all on. That's that one there. That's the Liverpool match from earlier on. I thought I just put all the Germans on. So excuse me for a sec. Because that Bochum Wolf match should be yielding us something interesting. Suspended market, Racing Ferrol and Elche. Elche got a reputation for goals. And we were already out. This is yet another one, over 2.5 goals, or over 1.5 goals at 1.97, as you can see. And we cashed out at that single goal. And I think this was, I got this, I think, 20 minutes into the match. Extremely big odds for an Elche side who do tend to have overs matches. I'm just looking for the Bundesliga matches because I thought I just placed them all. You saw them in front of my very eyes. So that is Arthur C. Clarke's Mysterious World. I thought I just did all of these. So the Dortmund Union Berlin match, we'd be looking at, unless I didn't save them, because we've got that first goal for Union Berlin. Maybe I didn't save it. There. I should have starred it so I can monitor it. First goal, what did I say? 14 quid or thereabouts. Now it's up to you whether you want to stay in or not, knowing that Union Berlin have scored first against Dortmund. Bayer Leverkusen, 3-0, you're out. First half goals, 2.5 after 26 minutes. I'm trying to not chuckle. It is 1.79. Man, we should have all emptied our bank accounts and walloped the lot on that.
This market has been suspended.
79% return on investment. Wow. Look at this again. 1 goal only. Now, what I might do here is experiment, okay? Normally, I'd lock that in. Normally I'd lock it in. And we've got a Union Berlin goal as well, haven't we? Oh no, that's Union Berlin, sorry. We had another goal, Bochum Wolfsburg. I'm sure I recorded this for overs as well. So what this does as well, it frees you up to matches you wouldn't normally trade, doesn't it? Bochum and Wolf, I would leave this alone all day long. There's that 14 quid or thereabouts, isn't it? Just for one goal. Oh, we're already out of that, so I'm already ahead of myself there. So the Dortmund match, I'm going to experiment with this because Dortmund just scored 7 against Celtic. If we can get another goal well timed, we can be out of its overs. But you can see my preference for over 1.5 goals because look at the way it drops. Zoom. Okay, so overs, it's a bit of a stretch, but we've got green already because we've done the 15-minute rule and we should be cashing out at the first goal. Okay, but I'm going to experiment with this. Let's see what this looks like. 1-0. What I would consider, if this gets down to 0.00 at half-time, I would get out for a break even. Having rolled the dice, trying to get a bigger green screen with a second goal before half-time. The market's certainly not going to degrade too much because they know that Dortmund are playing today and they're yet to score. Could be a possible trade as well. Just keep an eye on the in-play stats for Dortmund because they weren't necessarily hugely fancy today at about evens. But it could be a possible trade, couldn't it? Just got to wait for that goal. I think it has appeared. So we might have some issues with in-play guru today as far as accuracy is concerned. Yep, we've got the goal there, got the goal there. Look at this. Over before half-time. Really good stuff, isn't it? And the side you expect to score before half-time, of course, they're going to win 1-0 with a 93rd minute header from the goalkeeper, knowing my luck. So our shorties, you can see there, regardless of league, I'm just picking up the data and you can investigate the time that the goal was scored. Bang, you're in again for your over 2.5 goal, 15 quid. Or you can wait because the underdog scored the first goal. So that needs to weigh in. That's why I'm not getting out of Dortmund, because the underdog scored first. So your logical assumption is for a response, i.e. a second goal, getting that 48th minute, that could be your out for your over 2.5 goals. That, of course, get you 16 quid. Dependent on the odds, of course, because the shorter the odds, it might take a while for 2.5 goals to get over evens. But it's all good stuff, isn't it? Apart from these two, a couple of 0-0s at half-time. I've already backed over 2.5 goal, but what I would normally do in a Hammarby and Ankara Guku match when they're such short-priced favourites, 1.38, and I think this is about similar. Pre-match odds, 1.33. So you're making an assumption here, and if we can get 1.5 goals at evens for a 1.3 the favourite at home, that sounds like value, doesn't it? 2.26. How about that for a 1.3 favourite? All we need is a goal early in the second half, preferably before the 70th minute.
Goal.
And we're out.
Union Berlin Borussia Dortmund is 1-0.
Yeah, we've got that one already. Good. So that was Ankara Guku, and we also had Hammarby. I've already done the overs after 15 minutes, but we didn't get that goal before half-time. So again, you've seen the loss at half-time without a goal if you're back after 15 minutes. So do be wary of that. So this is why this is preferable. You just need that one goal here. If you get that one goal here, you're still in probably a lost position. Get one goal here, zoom. Those odds are going to go all the way down. You're going to be guaranteed a green if you get that goal before the 70th minute. That's what we're gambling on. So we're doing the same for Hammarby. Get that goal before the 70th minute. So over 1.5 goals. Again, you're out. Looks like we've got a goal. No, this is the insurance. So this is another thing I'm trying out. Insurance. Because I've gone for 2.5 goals. It's not tallying, £22 to 13, but it does give you an opportunity to get out. And you're flirting, of course, with disaster with a 2-0, a 1-0, of course. If you just get stuck on the 1-0, because that ain't going to budge. So we've got to investigate what do we do when it's not working in our favour, because we need to have a systematised out where we're covering our losses. Brentford against Wolves is 1-0 in what could be a very strong over 2.5 goal Premier League today. Let's carry on with our odds-ons just while we're waiting for the goals to come in throughout Europe. And what this does, this alerts you to odds-on favourites you might not have known about earlier on. And that could give you a trading angle, particularly if Longford score first. And what this will do, this will alert you whenever the goal has come in an odds-on favourite match. Atalanta, for example, Inter Milan. West Ham have opened up against Ipswich. This is, for me, one of those redemption matches for the Hammers. Got to win under Lopetegui. Got to win. Early goal already, so not quite. And this would have been part of an over 2.5 goal play as well, had it been 0-0 after 15. Ipswich newly promoted. West Ham must win. It's an archetypal redemption match after such a poor run. You have to say, though, they've had an awful fixture list. London derbies and big boys and all sorts. So this is a respite against a newly promoted side who clearly struggle to keep clean sheets. So collecting our odds-ons, as you can see there now, that would have alerted me. 0-0 at half-time. Back over 1.5 goals, 1.3. Would be very unlucky to get out of this one with a loss. Just it is a lowly league. We have had an odds-on favourite against 10 men failed to score earlier on today, Kazim-Pasa. So it does happen. There we go, Braga. So you can be alerted now that the possibility of a play here. 1.67 favourite is a goal down, but it's a very poor league. It is a neutral league. It's a goals league. It's not a trust a team league, this one. 2.05 losing 4-0. You get the idea. That's a rarity. Well, it's not a rarity in the Superettan. This is what I'm talking about earlier on. So when do I get out? I'm lulled in, just get my false teeth back, by the red card to have stayed in. Lulled in by the in-play stats to have stayed in. This ends 0-0. What do? Do I take a full hit or what? Do I get out half liability? That's the problem that needs to be solved when it doesn't go your way. So we're just working the odds-ons. No goals of any great interest with the 3 o'clocks, 4 minutes in. And we need to collect odds-ons as well for the lower tiers in England, because I don't know the leagues very well. And look at this, over 1.5 goals already. Brentford and Wolves. Wow. That was on my 2.5 goal list today for sure. What a pity I'm doing the delaying part of it. So let me just catch up the odds-ons. Jupiler League as well, 1.53 Genk, sorry. And I'll go to the Challenger League as well with a refreshing eye on goals. We normally see, I'd be more confident of more goals in lower leagues. I would be less confident of trading lower leagues, trusting favourites. So that could be a good avenue for leagues you don't normally get involved in. So we'll work our way down. 1-1 already, Brentford and Wolves. That's 1-1 at half-time. That could be an interesting lay the draw second half. So Croatia next, I think. Got a couple of odds-ons there today. Lokomotiv Zagreb just kicking off, so I'm glad that's on the list. I can keep an eye if Gorica score first. Rijeka are away from home as well. And again, 1.6 shots suggesting goals today as well. So if it's 0-0 after 15 minutes, you can possibly have an idea. And leagues like this one, well, I was going to say normally goal fests. We've got Teplice odds on, newly promoted Dukla Prague. So that would interest me from an overs perspective if that gets to 15 minutes at 0-0. I do like targeting these newly promoted sides, particularly when they're not favourite, particularly when they're away from home against an odds-on shot. We should have a good chance of getting at least a goal. Rightly timed. And I keep telling you about the first division. We had 100% overs in Denmark yesterday. This would have been one to target again. with Fredericia. Uh-oh. Taxi for Lopetegui. It's 1-1, West Ham and Ipswich. Wouldn't have been trades for me at all, apart from delaying 15 minutes. So we've got a 16-minute goal again. Waiting 15 minutes. Boom. Now there's 2 goals in for Wolfsburg against Bochum, but I got out at the first goal. So it's up to you if you want to wait till half-time to see if you can get that second goal, because you're going to get a much bigger odds swing. So let me just carry on with the odds on. As you can see, Horsens are odds on now. So you can keep an eye on Horsens stats to see whether they deserve their odds on status. But certainly for me, Fredericia is a goals team. Not necessarily winning, but it's a goals team. Championship, let's get our odds on favourites. West Brom at home to the Lions. Sheffield United, another 1-0 to the Blades last week. Called that one as well. Just looked as if they were settling for that 0-0 for a prolonged period, nick a goal, and off we go. Odds on favourites here, Wycombe, Wrexham. And again, these can be important pointers to goals as well, couldn't they? Rotherham, note they've been evens. Exeter as well against Cambridge United, well known for goals. Birmingham. So 15 minutes in, I'll look on these with interest, particularly as they're lower tiers. With lower tiers should come more goals. Barrow, odds on. MK Dons, odds on. Swindon, odds on. So working our way down. I'm not doing these though. Well, you can't really trade them on Betfair.
Kristiansund BK Sandefjord is 2-0.
2-0 for Kristiansund. Yet another example to you, I think, of a league we like for goals, not necessarily trading. Norwegian Tippeligaen. And let's just see the timing of the first goal, 45 minutes, right at the end of the first half. If you'd have backed over 2.5 goals there, bang. So that's what I'm talking about, the neutral element. You can have a quick check, just if they're ticking all the right boxes for overs. You can see against Bodo Glimt, well, not expected to score really. Conceding against Molde. So they, against the big guns, overs is in the bag. And it was there as well. That was just based on the league. Looking for that. Wrexham have scored first against Northampton. This is why I've got to finish my odds-ons. And there we go. It's an odds-on favourite match. So we've got a favourite. Probably Wrexham, I would suggest. With Ryan Reynolds, Squillians backing them up. KUPS, this looks like a derby-style match, doesn't it, in Finland? So I wouldn't be eyeing that one at all. French League, Saint-Etienne. It's not odds on, but they are newly promoted and they're coming off the back of an absolute battering in their last match. Normally, you're going to see tightening up that defence today, but they might be on the end of another battering today. That's why I would look on them with a bit of interest. Didn't get that goal, Martiguez, alas. Lots of goals coming in, but from the English FA Trophy, so we're not missing anything just yet. So this is normally what I'd do before a session. Get all your odds sorted out. You can see here 1.27. Very underwhelming performance from FC Köln today against odds-on favourites. So working our way down, alphabetical order. You're not missing any goals of any great importance or any trading angles just yet. Likely to come alive. Don't forget, 15-minute break for your first look at Arsenal, Man City, all of the other shorties. After 15 minutes, see what the overs is looking like. Does it make value appeal for you? 3 out of 3 odds on favourites in the Greek Super League today, but it's not a league known for overs. But we might be pleasantly surprised. Israel, Liga Ha'al, Beitar Jerusalem, and Maccabi Haifa, the odds on favourites today. That was a goal in Falkirk, and it's an illiquid league, I'm afraid, the Championship League 1, League 2. Real pity. There's our odds on favourites. As you can see, Sassuolo odds on. And they're newly relegated. That draw could be gettable second half. Frosinone coming to the second half. You can check the 0-0s out now for the second half. Or you could back over 1.5 goals because it's an over. It's an odds on favourite at home. Why don't we pop over, see what that looks like? You're probably going to get over evens again for 1.5 goals. You just need a well-timed opening goal. That's relatively high, so that should offer you some potential warning. 1.4 is a little bit too low there, but that, if we get that goal coming in before the 70th minute, that is extremely good value. The best value I've found, and here we've got a goal for Hammarby. So let's stop and have a look at Hammarby. One of our odds-on favourites, over 1.5 goals second half. Sheffield United have already scored this. That's likely to end 1-0. So I would get out here, I think. Oh, I've gone. Yeah, this is insurance. So hopefully this has ignited this. Or because the goal has taken 54 minutes to be scored, well, no problem. We could get out with a net loss of £9 because it's not going our way. Or stay in for that second goal. Because we've got the 1-0 covered at the moment. If we can get that second goal at a good enough time, we'll lose our 12, but hopefully the profit we make here will be above 12. So all experimental at the moment. You want to see the problematic plays as well
is 3-0
as the profitable plays. So where were we with our odds-ons? As you can see, we're getting alerted now when odds-on favourite matches see goals. That's what we need. And you should be getting an auditory alert, which I hope we will do. We've got a red card for Leuven against Mechelen, 13 minutes in. So we can have a look at that one. What were the odds pre-match? Who was the favourite? And there's that Sassuolo goal, far too early in the second half. What a pity.
Sassuolo Cittadella is 2-1.
Far too early to have laid that draw second half. Well, no, 56 minutes. They are newly relegated. So they could dominate in this particular league, particularly with home advantage, and particularly when the market agrees that they'll dominate in this lesser league. Obosligen will be eyed for overs. Wouldn't trust this lot with stolen money, that's for sure. And work our way down. And there's that goal for Mechelen. Likely it's tied into the red card because it's come so quickly. I would say that would be a penalty. Lech Poznan a bit later on against newly promoted Motor Lublin. Could be an overs match, couldn't it? Taking on established, playing newly promoted. Sniffing overs there. Fans of Bowers and Pitsy, they've scored the first goal against Real Bedford. You'll be delighted with that. Whistler Plock and Whistler and Whistler Plock odds on in the Polish First Division. Again, I'm going down the leagues, but a bit of confidence.
Goal. This market has been Sassuolo Cittadella is 2-1.
We could see goals. So that's what I don't touch these leagues with a barge pole normally, trusting teams, but they are full of goals at times. Gil Vicente odds on. Aruca, a note they're going down. And there's that confirmation of the Sassuolo goal. No major goals just yet, so don't forget your 15-minute entry point for any matches you thought would be overs. 2-0 to Union Berlin, 45th minute, goal. And my gamble of staying in
Union Berlin Borussia Dortmund is 2-0.
Has profited, and we've got a potential angle for the second half. This could be troubling for Dortmund. The curse of the Champions League, despite scoring 7 goals. Don't worry, I should have this all up here in the market watch list here for Union Berlin. That's more like it, isn't it? Having not taken the profit in the first instance, you could even stay in now and look for overs because Dortmund have to respond. But that before half-time is brilliant. Plymouth have scored first against Blackburn. Wayne Rooney, football genius, will be delighted with that one. Again, we just need to make sure it's not an odds-on favourite, Blackburn, today. No, they're not. So Wayne Rooney picking up some results for Plymouth. Hopefully he's not picking up any grandmas while he's managing Plymouth, because the wife won't like that at all. Working our way down, coming to the end of this lot. Probably Sweden next. And I did some Saudi Arabian footy earlier on as well. Get very high odds.
Kristiansund BK Sandefjord is 2-1.
There we go. That's the overs in the bag. Kristiansund and
FC
Sandefjord.
Fredericia AC Horsens is 1-1.
That's your over 1.5 goals in the bag. Again, Denmark delivering. Not a league I would trust normally to trade. And Leicester have scored first, 17 minutes, and I missed it. That was one of my over 2.5 goals. So you can see we've got to be on the ball if we're going to be doing this. And we've got a goal. No, we haven't. I thought we had a goal before half-time, Werder Bremen, but 0-0. Very, very rare for Werder Bremen. Pretty much all overs today. So I've got to get involved, Man City and Arsenal, because I've missed out on the Leicester match. And that could give us an angle in the Leicester match, because Bournemouth have been full of goals of late. Let's see if we're going to get a gift from Man City. This could be an underperformance again from Man City post-international. Post-Champions League pre-international break. And there could be some team changes as well. Just knock the dynamic out. But what are you getting? Let's have a look at the delay after 15 minutes. 1.5 up to 1.8. Starting to look a bit better, isn't it? It's edging towards evens. I'll still give that a go at 1.74. And we'll have a look at the Arsenal match. You're just after getting some value. And Mechlin 2-0 already. What a pity. Couldn't take advantage of the red card, because that penalty looks to have solved that problem. So again, over 1.5 goals, probably far too short. Over 2.5 goals, 1.66. So again, very short indeed, isn't it, for the Arsenal? Let's have a look. 1.4. It's taking 1.4 is positive for us, expecting goals. But do you take 1.6? Maybe I'll look at 1.7. It's all relative to the team playing, of course, isn't it? Whether you see value. And what we can do again, if it gets to 0-0 at half-time, back over 1.5 goals. Watford goal disallowed against Borough. So I've just got that waiting at 1.7. Again, it's all part of the experiment, particularly with these very short odds. Maybe if over 1.5 goals is so short, you might want to look at first half goals markets. So there's plenty to think about. We're expecting goals before half time from this list. So with that in mind, we're going to go off to Bolton. And again, we're looking at backing over 2.5 goals here. Don't forget, these are all experimental mode at the moment. But as you can see, it's got some definite potential. So the only reason I'm doing that is because Bolton, very, very short price odds-on favourites at home after 15 minutes without scoring a goal. 1.42. Not ultra, ultra short. By that, which I mean 1.3 or lower. So there's a goal for Hammarby, 62nd minute. I think we know that already, don't we? So that's arrived a little bit too late. So make sure if you're using something like Fairbot, you're picking up these, putting them into your watch list here to get to them quicker, like Hammarby. So £15 loss on the overs. Compensated. Oh, no, we didn't. That's the Bolton match. So it's 2-1. Leverkusen and Holstein Kiel have scored a goal. Unbelievable,
This
yeah.
market has been suspended.
Bolton Shrews is 0-0. Have we got a goal? 20 minutes in. That would be very nice if we did. So some of these I'm not remembering to... Oh, we've got Union. Get the Wolfsburg match. Because I want to collect the data. As you can see there. Collecting the greens. 2-1 Brentford, Wolverhampton Wanderers. And Shrews have scored against Bolton, which will positively impact the over 2.5 goal market because it's the underdog scoring first. And naturally, that's an angle for us as well. Are Bolton deserving odds-on favourites? We can look at the in-play stats first. This is the English League One. So we'll head off, just put these in league order so I can get to it quicker. English League One. And we're going to have a look at that Bolton match because it's the underdog scoring first. But again, if you're neutral, who cares? That's the real appeal. Bolton must be up here, must have it saved already. No, I can't find Bolton Just check again. English League One. Bolton, there they are against the Shrews. So this is a typical odds you'll see when a strong favourite concedes first. 3 wins in 4. I don't know much about these lower tiers. That's what I have to have just a quick investigate. But if you know Bolton well, if any of you know Bolton, Hammerby over 1.5 goals, 1.9. Thanks, Enoch. Nice to see you here, Enoch. Hope everything's well. As you can see, we're trying to suss out the overs markets. Hello, Simon. Nice to see you. Simon Lloyd popping in, saying hello. Thanks very much, Mango, for that. Sassuolo goal disallowed VAR. So a good warning from Gary when you see that. And it's an odds-on favourite at home. It's a possibility of getting the goals in. Missed first half plus 2.5 goals, 1.06. Oh, that is very nice indeed, isn't it? So where were we with Bolton? Possibility of a trade here, if we're going to go strictly. Now you can see 1 goal only. Are you looking, Enoch? 1 goal only. That's all we needed after 20 minutes. Now, like Dortmund, the underdog has scored the first goal. You're going to assume that a 1.3 favourite is going to be battling here to get back into it. Do check the in-place stats out first, though. It's been a little quiet from Bolton. I just hope they're not playing Peter Kay up front today. Probably stick him in goal would be good. But, why are they 1.3 favourite? Why? So, got to do a bit of investigation here. Soccerstats.com is your place for that. So let's have a look, and we keep working down. As you can see, we get goals coming in now. So I should have waited 15 minutes. This is why I'm going to be so on it. I missed the Leicester one. That was 17th minute first goal. I've got on these two. Let's get on our other odds-ons that I've collected so far. I've got on these 2 0-0s after 15 minutes. Eibar and Gijón. Well, that's only 8 minutes in. We got that one. He's just seen that profit just from a single goal from a 1.33 favourite. That's why this is so appealing to me. It really looks good. 24 minutes in for Beveren, 1.9 at home. I think we played that already. That's a Challenge League. I might as well try it. Let's go to these leagues we wouldn't trust normally. Now, the reason I'm not getting out here, as you know, possibility of Bolton getting back into this. And it is a possible trade, so I might just show you how to look at this one. Bolton. Let's just head off there. And I really do need to be looking out for those 0-0s at 15 minutes in matches where I thought there'd be goals. I'm missing out on them, alas. I would always take insurance out with the stake I'm going to use, which would be 40 quid here. Now, you can investigate both teams to score no. I might try this just as an experiment. You're looking to win the stake you want to use. If you want to stake £40, the problem with this, it's illiquid, but the positive with this, it covers 0-1, 0-2, 0-3. If, for some strange reason, Bolton are playing Peter Kay up front today. Dundee has scored first against Kilmarnock in the SPL. Wickham 1-0 up against Crawley. So this is a bit too illiquid. I wanted to show you an alternative route, which would be, well, it's a £10 insurance premium. But it's totally illiquid. There's 3 quid there. So we're flogging a dead horse. So you'll have to go the old route. But I would have liked to have covered that 2-0. So just remember that. Laying over 1.5 goals covers the current scoreline, which is a shock 0-1 to the Shrews. We want to get that covered. Okay, that's my insurance premium. Now I've got 0-0 covered, 1-0 covered, 0-1 covered. Now, Bolton +1 is going to be far too skinny. That covers the draw. Far too skinny at 1.46. So it necessitates you're heading into the match odds market, doesn't it? Half stake Split your £40 or whatever stake you're using. And Fulham have scored first against Man City. That is going to light up that over 1.5 goal. Or over 2.5 goal Man City at evens, isn't it? Or however we got them at. And it's also got the possibility of Man City getting an equaliser before half-time. So let's look on that one with interest next. So backing Bolton half stake at enhanced odds for a 1.33 shot. But they look suspiciously high, these odds. You can see really gone up. Slightly concerning. Laying the Shrews a goal up. Half stake as liability. Okay, remember that distinction. You're looking to lose 20 quid, not win 20 quid. That puts a £40 loss on Shrewsbury here. And an incentive for you to stay in should Bolton equalise at just a £10 loss, compounded by a £4 loss on the insurance. So best case scenario is a goal before half-time for Bolton. And of course, you can always play that market as well if you want. Brentford 3, Wolves 2. Let's get off to the Man City match because surely that's a play. I think there's been a goal in the Bolton-Shrews match. Has it gone to Bolton? We will soon find out. So again, you've got a possibility of a half-time play here. Man City, because you're probably going to get very low odds or valueless odds, but laying over 1.5 goals covers the possibility of Man City having an off day post-Champions League pre-international break. Again, the team dynamic could just be switched because Guardiola might be tinkering a little. So we've got the current 0-1 covered. Match odds is the only option, and it's going to be very skinny. It's going to be odds on. So that's a pity. The only other way is to delay entry and wait. This is not worth doing, to be honest with you. I'll show you why it's not worth doing, unless you want to go full stake Manchester City at far better odds than they were 28 minutes ago. Okay, that's an option. Normally I cover the draw, but we can experiment today. The only alternative route, check the in-play stats, make sure City have turned up, of course, is to look at the first half. Now it's 0-2 to the Shrews, and that is why I prefer these neutral plays. You've just seen. And luckily I didn't pass it on to Telegrammers. I did tell you I wanted to cover that 0-2. But both teams to score no was not playing. Half-time is an option here as well for Man City. Neutral play, first half goals, 2.5. If you see anything like, well, 5.8. Wow, that is quite high. I know they require 2 goals, but this is Manchester City. And 1.5 goals, or you go to the half-time score market, do a little bit of variable profit Dutching if you can. So that would be the 1-1, 2-1, and any unquoted. The any unquoted, of course, very tempting indeed. So this is just something you can do using variable profit Dutching. 1-1, 2-1, any unquoted, just in case Man City come alive. You've got options. You can choose your stake. That will win you around £19. You can look at your required profit. Or you could variable profit Dutch. You could look for one of the bigger wins at odds of 36. So you can load up on that one, just in case Man City come alive. Or then you could go 2-1, just a little bit on that one. As you can see, the liability is still relatively low, isn't it? And 1-1, just a cursory 4 or 5 quid. Or if you wanted to spread your profit, of course, that would be an option, as would that. But I go for the variable profit route. Let's see if City can come alive. Not much time left. 15 minutes though, could be a long 15 minutes. So the only other options, possibly the half-time This is, of course, risky because you're giving Man City 15 minutes only to do something here. But this is the
This market has been suspended.
talk about timing. Is this a Man City goal? Let's wait. Or is it a false alarm? It looks like the draw is favourite. Haven't seen a goal come in yet. It is. It's 1-1 already. And just to remind you, neutral players. Oh, I took £2.40. Oh, yeah, that was before. I thought I went over 2.5 goals here as well. And you're out after 32 minutes. You see the joy of this neutral play. Who cares who scores first? Who cares? Better, of course, if Man City score first. So this one I didn't cash out at the 0-1. I cashed out because I had this covered, didn't I? No, I didn't. Sorry. So I didn't do any plays apart from the half-time score play, wherever that will be. And you can see 1-1 is alive. Now, any unquoted is alive. It's the second favourite. Well, it's not. It's in a liquid market. But now you can see, oh, this didn't get matched. 2-1 didn't get matched. Oh, you can see it there. Ah, that's disappointing. My 2-1 didn't get matched. So that would have been 25 quid on the 2-1. And the odds are far too skinny now with that goal taking the life out of it. I could see if I could just negate that loss, because it would be a pity to come out of that with a loss. How much is that going to cost me? There we go. Just I don't want to come out of that with a loss. That would be it should be a 25 quid profit on 2-1. So let's look at our other 15 minutes. Remember the Arsenal. How about some of the other leagues? So these are all short price favourites. This would probably be a good starting point. You can see, look, 15-minute wait, odds on favourite. Did we do this IBAR one? I'm not sure if we did or not. So you can see how excited I am about the potential for these neutral plays. It's just a matter of getting enough info together. I don't think I played this one. It would have been one to have played. 1.5 goals. No, 2.5 goals after 15 minutes. But no. So let's go with these odds on favourites. Hammarby, profit with just that single goal. You can see odds on. But Braga. So we'll just have a look at the Braga match as well. We might get a trade out of this, but it is one of the lesser leagues. That's for sure. Udinese have scored first against Lecce, so let me just cut off there and see the impact that hasn't had, because it's a 76-minute goal. So again, we need to see the kind of losses you'll make if you don't get out. £15 loss for a single goal scored in a 76th minute. That's quite good, isn't it? That's quite good relative to £40. That's about a third of liability. So that's something I would take. So we've got leeway in some matches up to about the 75th minute if we take a tolerable loss out of it. You could weigh up the amount of time left, 15 minutes to go perhaps. Do you see a second goal? You've got 76 minutes out of that 1.5 goal at 0-0 for only a £14 loss. So you've effectively bought the vast proportion of the match for a goal to be scored, and it's cost you 14 quid. So I think that's a fairly decent return. So let's have a look. Work our way down for the live ones. Beveren, 35 minutes in. So let's have a look at that one. And the Arsenal match is very, very quiet at the moment. Could be post-international blues. So the only reason I would get involved in this match, you can see it's a horrendous league, would be, again, just to check, see if we can get a goal before half time. But maybe not, because there's 36 minutes gone. But are you getting a good drift in the overs? What were they pre-match? What are they now? So you've got about 1.7 pre-match. So you're getting very good value about them without the half even finishing. My hope, this Dodge Pot League will produce goals. It's a lower tier. I don't know if it will or not, but we've got an odds-on favourite at home. Just hoping we'll deliver. Lokomotiv Zagreb. Postal pre 15 minutes for this one. 26 minutes. So yet another opportunity. You can see how many of them there are. Fred, we already know. Coventry. Did that come pre or post? I think that came just on the cusp. Post 15 minutes, didn't it? 26 minute. Again, you'll be in and out. Sheffield United. I wouldn't be doing overs with Sheffield United. 1-0 Merchants. West Brom and Millwall. Strange to see this a little quiet. Millwall have been in fighting mood of late. That 3-1 win against Preston. Both teams to score against QPR, but only the 1-goal loss against Cardiff. And again, depressing unders last match for West Brom, but prior to that, again, they're blowing hot and cold. Which one turns up? The overs or unders, Merchants? I don't have a strong opinion on that one. But it's an odds-on favourite at home, so that would give the only angle we could try it out. But I don't like the form lines. They're not very good. We're not missing any traditional trades apart from that Man City view did get involved in the first half. I couldn't have passed it on to Telegram. I just couldn't find the value, really. So let's have a look at Millwall. Over 1.5 goals after 38 minutes is 2.16 for an odds-on favourite at home. That's very good value. We had a lot of these in the Champions League at these odds, and they got a goal before half-time, very luckily. And you were out with your usual 14 quid or thereabouts. So let's continue with our odds-on favourites. Goals are a little shy at the moment. The goals you hear coming in are all from the FA Trophy at the moment, 4 in a row there. So let's go to the base and work our way up, finish our odds-ons, and we'll be done for the day. I think I've done them all, haven't I? And then we can have a trawl through the odds-on favourites matches. Indeed, I have. And Karagumruk, and a couple more odds-ons. So it gives a whole new complexion to the match now, odds-on favourites, doesn't it? You're immediately tying them in with the expectation for goals. So the longer you delay at a 0-0, the better value you'll have, as long as they deliver as per the market's expectation. So we've got that second goal for Wrexham, doing very well, newly promoted with all of those Deadpool dollars. So, yeah, very quiet goals-wise, and you're not missing anything at the moment. 0-0 Arsenal, very, very quiet. So I think we're all done. So these all go into the odds-on favourite list here. And you should hear a sound, unless I've muted the website. No. So we should be alerted whenever a goal comes in. And what you can do is put this in time order to organise your evening if you want, or organise your Saturday. We'll know now. We can get rid of Hammarby. We've got the goal. All we had was a single goal. That's all we needed. Despite expectations, that's all we needed. So we can get rid of these two. Bayer Leverkusen, job done really, unless Holstein Kiel equalise somehow. Arsenal 0-0 against Saints. I told you, 10 men in goal. Matt Lattis up front. That seems to be the setting today. It's an obvious defensive tactic from Southampton. They have to arrest these problems. But let's just have a look at the Premier League. Look at the stats. See whether Arsenal have come alive. Well, they have. They do look on top of this, don't they? But it's a good defensive display. No shots on target yet for the Saints. We're 20 minutes in. 20 minutes is normally where I'd go for a half-time score. And it's also possible angling as well if you're going to insist on over 2.5 goals, which 1.18 insists on. And you'll notice the odds haven't moved for 22 minutes. That's a very, very good sign indeed, isn't it? So we've already got involved with the Arsenal match at overs. There's another option for these short price favourites. That's why I've got them at flash score. These are 1.3 and there we go. Got goals coming in. We'll have a look at that neutral play here and possible play second half here as well. So you can see, heading to these lower leagues, trusting these favourites is folly, isn't it? But trusting goals is the better move. So Arsenal Saints, ordinarily, oh no, so this must be wrong. Right, we've got a problem with the in-play stats feed, I think. You lot okay with your in-play stats feed? Yeah, I've just noticed that, Alan. Thank you very much. So, suggests, I hope there's no problems. 22 minutes in, so that's problematic. I don't have the backup in-play stats feed as well today. So I hope it's just the timing that's wrong, because those stats did look accurate for Arsenal for a 1.18 shot. 20 minutes, yeah, looks like they might have stopped after 20 minutes. That's a problem. Now, normally, soccerscanner.net would be my backup, and I might have to buy a subscription. They seem to have a different data feed to In-Play Guru. So In-Play Guru does now and again disconnect, and this is problematic. We're not getting any post 20 minute stats. So that's knocking everything off kilter. And it's knocking my 15 minutes things off kilter as well. So that's a pity. Teplice Dukla Prague, another one on my shortlist, but I didn't get round to placing the play. 41st minute goal before halftime against newly promoted. Okay. So how can I... Well, I can sign up again. Here we go. Let's try that. Register again. There we go. So this will be a good backup. It's a tenner a month, which is an absolute steal. So I will require it today. So let me just get on that. So having a backup in-play stats feed, you've got alternatives. You can use totalcorner.com, but it's free and you do not get the backup that you get and all the bells and whistles that you get with the paid-for services. And it's the best free option because every single match is in front of you. If you go to somewhere like William Hill, I'm sure it's just something wrong with the website. Okay. So I just want to get back to Soccer Scanner, and hopefully the Soccer Scanner is working. West Ham 2-1 up against Ipswich. You see, when we don't have these in-play stats accurately portrayed like today, there is a problem. So this is the alternative. It's lacking some of the elements that the In-Play Guru has, but it is a backup site. And as you can see, we've got the correct timings now. So that's far better. So you can see now, no shots on target, 11 off 6 corners. So this is the backup. This is a tenner a month, Soccer Scanner, for when this goes wrong. So hopefully this is just a blip because their stats have frozen at the 20-minute mark, which is very problematic. You can see that all the way through there, 20. So got to use this now. I don't like the fact that you can't put these at the top. Maybe you can, I don't know. Let's just see if we can. So I'll star that one. Now, Brentford and Wolves, job done already. I'm expecting a possibility of a Bournemouth equaliser. So that could be a play second half. You can see 1 shot on 5 off 4 corners, 27 dangerous attacks. So that could be a play for me to take on a Leicester lead. They are newly promoted, of course, Leicester. Man City and Fulham. We're expecting a 3-1. Any other home score today from those odds. Similar with Arsenal as well. So Arsenal against PSG was a 2-0. That might be an opening gambit if you want a correct score play. Second half. West Ham and Ipswich. I think that's 2-1. So I hope we're not getting slow updates here as well. Bundesliga. You could look at the overs Can't you see? It's just amazing. And of course, the team I expect to have overs, with the side conceding 3 last week, normally goals before half-time. 7 goals last week, and of course it's 0-0. But it's a good example, and that could be a sound when there's a goal. There we go. The West Ham match. That would have been a lay the draw second half for sure, that one. So work our way down and hope that In Play Guru gets back on its feet. Werder Bremen and Freiburg. So let's pretend this was 0-0 at half time. Over 1.5 goals. I'm sure I've done it already. No, at 3.15 for teams with that reputation. And we could get a good run for our money here. I would be looking to get out at about 14, 15 quid loss. So if this gets to 15 quid without a goal being scored, then I'd get out. But surely a 0-0 in a match featuring these two, it's a bit of a stretch. So we're going to look at the lower tiers as well. Coventry scoring first. Got a 0-0 at half-time. Derby, QPR. Possibility of goals second half there. Blackburn Rovers, well, pre-match odds. Thankfully, they've got the pre-match odds here, which is an excellent start. You want to know who the favourites were pre-match. So automatically you can see that Plymouth were actually fancied today. Or is this pre-match? Oh, sorry, start odds here. So not fancy today. Suddenly changes the complexion of that match. I don't know if Plymouth are a bit flaky under Wayne Rooney, football genius, but we'll wait and see. Sheffield United, typical 1-0. I wouldn't be doing overs with them. 5 shots on, 7 off for the Swans, 2.25 pre-match. That could be an over 1.5 goal second half play, couldn't it? Middlesbrough, I wouldn't tend to be doing overs in Middlesbrough's matches. I don't know if it's a wrong assumption, but they tend to be very defensively led. West Brom and Millwall are surprised to see a barren first half from these two as well. Getafe and Osasuna, again, if that was a 15-minute or over, that would have been an overs play for me. I do like Getafe as well, despite the fact they're not favourite. That would have been an overs match for me, definitely. Santa Clara Moreirense, starting off brightly, Santa Clara in the Primera Liga. Just keep an eye on the stats there. We've got to look at the English lower tiers as well. League 1 and League 2, we've not touched them yet. But there hasn't been anything really to get involved with. And I wish he'd put these in alphabetical order. Because this doesn't make sense to me. You've got Serbia, Uruguay, Denmark, Poland. And where am I going to find England? This is why I prefer the In-Play Guru, you see. Just these little areas that cost you time. So I'm trying to find England here, and it's not in alphabetical order. It's not in any real order at all. So where on earth is England? Knowing my luck, of course, it'd be at the back of the queue. So let's look again. See, this is a part of it that I don't like. Where on earth is England? Championship, League 1, League 2. Just waiting to see them appear. In no great order as well. Look, surely maybe email him, ask him to put these in alphabetical order, or have the option to, because it all takes a little bit too long. So I'll keep an eye on that one. I've got rid of all the starred ones as well, so that's another problem with this. I'm hoping this will come back on. You can see why I prefer the In-Play Guru, don't you? It's far more intuitive. They know what traders want. They want to single out matches to shortlist and look at. But they also want a working fee. Now, I've got an idea. Last week, this was not working on Google Chrome, but it was working on Microsoft Edge. So let's have a look. This might solve my problem. So drum roll, please. Nothing appearing. Oh, well. Bang goes that idea. Here we go. Now, they look to be in time order. So if you're having the same problem that I'm having, No, it is the same problem.
This
Scottish
market has been
Championship.
suspended.
Look at that. So we're stuck with the slightly inferior soccer scanner. It's just not that intuitive, is it? Where's English League One, English League Two as well? I don't know. So looking at the second half, Leicester and Bournemouth, I think I might have a play here. Evens pre-match.
This market has been suspended.
I think I might have a go at this one. Now we can have a look at your two different ways to attack that. We've got suspended market. That's 230. Is this the overs in the bag? Well, we're already out there. And Hammerby, that's match over. Oh, sorry, £40 loss there. Oh, sorry. That's an £8. That's Werder Bremen. Sorry, getting all mixed up. Hammerby. And it's 2-1, Union Berlin and Dortmund. So staying in would have been in play. And did we get involved here with Union Berlin as well? I think we did, didn't we? Or I hope we did. Laying over 1.5 goals. No. Should have done. But we can get involved again, I think. Laying over 3.5 goals on this particular occasion to cover the current scoreline of 2-1 to Union Berlin. The fact that Dortmund have a goal back can hopefully instill a little bit of confidence in me. This covers the 2-1. The insurance premium will be relatively high, 10 or something, 16. So it's relatively high, but hopefully you're getting better odds about Dortmund, particularly in the +1 market. 2.3, very high odds, and someone's keen to get them. So you have been warned. This comes with a warning. When you see odds above 1.8 in this market, it's not a confident play at all. And I don't know if it's coming off the back of that Champions League match and maybe having some internationals who want to be rested. Maybe that's brought some problems to that particular team. I'm just, sorry, a bit distracted by trying to find Telegram on my telephone, so I can just pass this one on.
This market has been suspended.
Another suspended market. Let's have a look at that one. So it's a good return, as you can see, for +1, but it's because they might not be the usual Dortmund. So you have been warned. Use a stake that you're prepared to lose on this one. Well, Manchester City is at 1-1 currently at half-time. Expectation pre-match was for a 3-1 or any other home score if you fancy staying with that. Similar story for Arsenal. Been kept very, very quiet by this Saints side, but we've got 3 Saints yellow cards already, and the Arsenal stats are stacking up. 12 goal attempts, 1 on, 5 off, 6 block shots, 8 corners to 0. Normally as well, with a 1.18 shot with Arsenal, 1.31, you'd be expecting a 2-0, 3-0, any other home score. What I would do here, I would have to include the 2-0 because they've been targeting that scoreline early season. So 2-0 Arsenal second half, 3-0, 3-1, any other home score. I can't send you a screenshot, I'm afraid, because I'm doing a live chat webinar. Alternatively, you could look to over 3.5 goals. That locks in the vast majority of those scorelines as well. So as you can see, we're making an assumption with the 1.18. But you saw with Liverpool earlier on, these big boys will take a single goal in it win today. I think the fixture lists are mounting up. The international break will be very welcome, at least for the team members who aren't in the internationals. But we will see. So we can get rid of this one now. We've got the Sassuolo lead. No, this one is still not updated, is it? So I'm so used to this excellent website, but as you can see, it's stuck today. And when you don't have proper in-play stats, it plays havoc. So we'll be looking here, possibilities for that draw ending. So the idea with sides such short odds. You can't lay the draw. The draw odds are too short. Let's just have a look at the neutral play. The advantage of a neutral play here over trusting a League One side to win. Which would you prefer? The £33 profit here, or sitting on a £23 loss here. Now, the fact that it's 2-0 to the Shrews and they're only 1.53 suggests a possibility of topping up. I call it averaging, because if you get that Bolton goal and well timed enough, you have the possibility of lowering that loss amount. So let me just check this. I wouldn't recommend these stakes, but they'll be good illustrative stakes if I can get them covered by covering the 2-1 to Shrews, perhaps the over 3.5 goals. So let's Bolton at 70. We're just looking for a Bolton goal. That's all we're looking for before the 60th minute. That's all we're looking for. But I would keep. Well, I could. Got over 3.5. Got £39 covered. To get another 39 covered would cost you another 20 quid. Or even more. So again, just experimental mode with this one. So under 3.5 goals, you'll win 78 quid. Where we go? Match odds. We're going to go again, won't we? I'm getting this mixed up. Yes. I'm starting as if it were a new trade. So we're covering the current scoreline of 2-1 by laying over 2.5 goals. For the amount of money we want to win, we want to use, which will be £40 minus liability. In this instance, Dortmund +1 greatly appeals, doesn't it? 2.66. Those of you who want a bigger return can go here at tens. Bigger risk, of course, and you could lay Union Berlin at 1.5. Plenty enough time left. And the incentive, if you get a 2-2, is to stay in because you've got the draw covered. But you can't discount Union Berlin today. It's just it's a strange market for Dortmund today. Leicester and Bournemouth, that's certainly on the watch list as well. Did I place my plays? Let's have a look. Got to take advantage of this half time. So again, Leicester and Bournemouth, if over 2.5 goals is reasonable value, that would be an excellent starting point. Again, that would be your neutral angle, wouldn't it? And it's evens, and a goal has already been scored by the underdog. So again, that represents value, doesn't it? If we can get a Bournemouth second goal, or it doesn't matter, if we can get a second goal. And the fact that it's the underdog scoring first and the newly promoted side, Bournemouth have been full of goals you've seen recently as well, particularly the Everton match. So that possibly appeals. 1.5 goals. We're already involved, aren't we? No, we aren't. Overs is only 1.21, which is tends to be a good signal for the over 2.5 goal market. So we're looking at with interest. Those of you who want to play, looking for Bournemouth to possibly get the win, lay over 1.5 goals. I call it insurance to win. The amount of money you want to stake, 40 quid, cost me £8.80. First stop off point, if Bournemouth +1
Goal.
is bigger odds
Frosinone Carraris is 0-1.
by quite a lot, then I would stop there because that covers the draw.
Goal.
And again,
Union Berlin Borussia Dortmund is 2-1.
very big odds relative
Goal.
to the market.
Bolton Shrewsbury is 0-2.
We're getting that could signal that this is back up and running. If they're catching up with the matches. So let's have a look. Yeah, these are all half time. So hopefully I can return to the Guru, get rid of some of these. So the Dortmund match, or the Leicester Bournemouth match. I'll pass these on as well. Again, possibly risky because Bournemouth are away and only evens, but they are full of goals of late, so I remain hopeful. Leicester have been struggling, as all these newly promoted sides have as well. Leicester against Bournemouth, I've laid over 1.5 goals, I think it is. Laid over 1.5 goals, cover the Leicester 1-0. And I'm going to take a chance on Bournemouth +1 here at a relatively high 2.28. They have been full of goals of late. Leicester newly promoted. Good secondary stats from Bournemouth, so I am hopeful of an equaliser. They're not odds-on favourite, but I just hope they can get the first half. So let me just get Football 24 back up because we need to know the goals as they come in. So we can just get rid of a bit of that. As you can see, 1 goal, that's all you needed, produced a green screen in that 1.3, the favourite match, Hammarby. Udinese Lecce, I thought this was a goal for Udinese, so we still might have trouble. Oh dear. Holstein Kiel, 2-2. Wow. I thought there was a goal in the Udinese match, so we might still have a problem with the in-play guru today. So I just need to make sure. Control and F. Come on. Nope, not showing. Udinese disappeared. There they are. Yep, finished 1-0. So this is all over the shop. So what a pity. Right, second halves will be beginning. Are there any English Championship matches that you fancied for goals that are 0-0 at half-time? The best starting point. Check out our matches before evens. What a performance from Holstein Kiel here. Unbelievable. Second half beginning for Man City and Arsenal. Got to see second half goals. Arsenal, as I say, 2-0, 3-0, 3-1, any other home. Let's just see what that looks like. Or what 3.5 goals looks like. Because that covers the higher echelons there. It's a bit of an ask, but they are 1.18 shots for a reason. So 1.14, not going to cost you much. And again, it could be a good trade if you could use your £40 stake if you wanted. You've got a lot to work with there, but that's a big liability for looking for 4 goals in such a short space of time. Arsenal probably going to be flirting more with the 2.5 goals. We're already on. Could top up as an experiment again. That could produce a better profit.
Bolton Shrewsbury is 1-2.
There we go. We've got the fight back beginning. Bolton and Shrewsbury. So let's have a look at that one. The market was not letting the Shrews get away with this, were they? Still relatively high odds. And doubling up. Just want to show you the advantage of not losing faith. Now, hopefully, once this starts to green up, you can see we're getting a decent green screen here. And don't forget, Bolton was still a goal down. I'm having trouble with Football 24's app now. It's not producing the goals. So the gremlins are about. I should have been alerted to that Shrews goal. So what are you going to do? You're going to take the 35 green. You're going to hold out for the 2-2. Now, 2-1. You could cover that scoreline in the hope that Bolton make it 2-2. And that way you can ignite that £192.71 for a 1.3 shot. So you've got 37 green here, which is pretty decent considering they're a goal down, and it's in the league that I really don't like. You can have a look at the in-play stats if you want to stay in and try to aim for that 200 plus quid. We can't look at the in-play stats unless Well, the timing is accurate here, but why is it wrong here? So I think we're flogging a dead horse, aren't we, with the in-play guru? So are you having problems there as well? No. Yeah, in-play guru not working, so it's not just me. It is a rare event, I must say. It's been an extremely good piece of kit to use. As you can see, how many times has it nailed a goal for us with those 100+ attacking pressure indexes? It's astounding. Lay the draw if it gets to a reasonably short amount. It's 2.72. Let's have a look. This is tempting me in to take the green. But if this was, would you be risking your 80 quid in English League One? This is I think, let's get my proper head on, eh? This is likely to end up in a Bolton win, and I've just kissed away 192 quid. But it's only, it's not promised to you, is it? That 192 quid. Holstein Kiel by Leverkusen. What are the draw odds like? It's got to be lay the draw, even if you lose. I normally do a full liability when I'm laying the draw. Again, you're getting really good value unless the market knew that it's going to end 2-2. Draw at 13.29. You're getting it.
This market has been suspended.
At these odds, for a Leverkusen who are just mental goals-wise. So we've got a goal coming in a suspended match. So we just that's a Bolton Shrews match. Is it 2-2? Have I just thrown away 192 or 200 odd quid, whatever it was? So don't forget, you can stay in if you want. Aim for those big profits if you're willing to take the loss on the draw. Leverkusen and Holstein Kiel is somehow 2-2. Got to lay the draw at 2.22. Leverkusen's reputation precedes them. I just hope they can continue scoring the absolute shed load, or even conceding. We are laying that draw after all. 2.2. Again, 1.79 for the first half goals market was just mental. Now this looks good value as well. And that's the over 2.5 goals there in the Bolton match. So the neutral plays come in, of course. There, match odds. We're out already, aren't we? I'm not flirting with disaster with those lower tiers. I've lost money in these lower leagues, and it costs and it hurts. You tell yourself, don't go in. But as a neutral player, these lower tier leagues are far, far more appealing, aren't they? I told you West Ham was a redemption match, and it looks as if they have delivered, haven't they? So let's just catch up the stats. I'm just waylaid a little by having to use the soccer scanner because it's just not absolutely ideal for me. XG, I've never really used as a trading vehicle. Just doesn't do anything for me, I'm afraid. 1 shot on, 6 shots off, 4 corners, 31 dangerous attacks. Hopefully that will signal something promising from Bournemouth second half. West Ham is 3-1, I believe. Man City have scored to make it 2-1. And Arsenal have still not scored either. So let's just check the Manchester City match. Again, if you went neutral with that one. Just got to find it somewhere. As you see, I tried out on the Japanese this morning. Some of them good, some of them not so good. But let's try and look for Manchester City, unless I didn't save that one. So let's just have a look. Man City and Fulham. So the options, let's have a look. I'm not sure we did any options, did we? Lay the draw would have been far too high. Oh no, we did that was a traditional match odds option. That would be the laying over 1.5 goal option, wouldn't it? Because oh no, it wouldn't. That's backing. I don't know what we did there. 1.79. Right. Yes, I remember. I didn't split my stake, did I? I didn't back Man City for 20 quid. I didn't lay Fulham because they were up at 5. So you're getting 4 quid if you're laying Fulham. It's not worth it. So I went all in. So that's an option in the future for you as well. You're still going to make a green screen because the insurance premium was so low, wasn't it? So that's an option. If you don't want to split your stakes in the match odds market. Again, you're looking at bigger profits, but you don't have that incentive of a profit on the draw. So that's job done. Arsenal, have I missed a goal for them? Still 0-0 after 52 minutes. 1 shot on, 14 off, 9 corners, 64 attacking pressure index. This particular attacking pressure index. I'm not sure if it's the same formula as the in-play guru, but this is concerning, isn't it, for the arse? But let's just have a quick look at their goal scoring, or even Southampton's conceding. Is there a specific time when Southampton are most vulnerable? Let's have a quick look. And we need not look. The Saints have scored the first goal. Is it Matt Le Tissier or Alan Shearer, the ex-Saints striker? Let's have a look. Well, we're going to have a look at the goal times, but with Southampton scoring first, that's why you include 3-1s when you're doing your correct scores. That's why I mentioned it, 3-0, 3-1, any other home score. Looking at late goals, well, 2 90th minute goals against Leicester, 90th minute and 45th. So we've still got some, they are a second half scoring side, aren't they, Arsenal? So nothing to worry about. How about a conceding second half side? Not really. All done. Damage first half there. Man United, again, first half the damage was done. Not so against Brentford. And a couple of 1-0. So this is going to be a tester for Arsenal. Let's just have a look at the team. Has Arteta made a lot of changes today with the international break, etc.? Let's have a look. Well, Raheem Sterling, a new signing for Arsenal. I wouldn't have put him. I wouldn't have changed that Arsenal side that's been winning so comfortably. Who have they got to work off? Gabriel Martinelli. He can always get you a goal. Yeah, this is the problem with these international breaks and the Champions League. Your first 11 players, Martinelli, Trossard, are rested. The dynamic is then just knocked off kilter a little bit, and you're having to use players that don't normally get in the 11 consistently enough. So that could be the reason why Arsenal are a bit off colour today, but this is an obvious play, isn't it? Let's have a look. Again, you cover the insurance given the unique weekend it is. Pre and post Champions League and international break. So laying over 1.5 goals, still relatively short given we are quite a way into the second half, 60 minutes in. Have to go match odds. Arsenal +1 might not be value enough. We can have a look. 1.36, so the market's extremely confident that Arsenal are going to get back into this, probably push on and win. Got a Saint-Etienne goal, 16 minutes again. That was another match I would have followed for the wait for 15 minutes back over 2.5 goals. Saint-Etienne conceding something stupid like 7 or 8 goals in their last match. Half stakes here again, unless you want to back Arsenal like you did Man City with the full stake. But this is more in keeping with the kind of odds you'll get in the expectation of an equaliser. Back Arsenal, half stake, lay Southampton, half stake as liability. Oh, just going to pass this on to Telegrammers. Thankfully, I backed Arsenal first, if it is a 1-1, of course. There we go. So I didn't get that over to Telegrammers. So this is the advantage of you coming along to the live stream. If you're going to be trading anyway, why not have this on in the background or something? Put it on your headphones. It's well worth it. 15 quid green already. I didn't get round to laying Saints at pretty good odds as well. So we got an enhanced profit there. I have to cash out because this isn't. Now we got the unders covered, but now we've got overs ignited. £71.54. Again, this is what I call averaging up. If I like the team, I don't panic if it's not going my way. Average up and you get far better odds on the way back down. So that's, if this is stuck at 1-1, then I'm going to cash out. Up to you if you want to stay in. £71 is very, very enticing. It's effective.
It has been suspended.
I might have to make my own mind up about staying in. Is this 2-1 for the Arsenal? It would be wonderful if it was. It hasn't come up yet. Arsenal correct, Udinese not. We haven't got an Arsenal goal yet. Charlton and Birmingham. Who's the favourite here? Let's have a quick look. Charlton and Birmingham. 1.62 pre-match favourite scored first. So that's what I do with these ones. Saint-Etienne, we know, have trouble keeping clean sheets. So they are newly promoted. So I will be looking at, is this back up and running? 87th minute, that looks accurate. Bolton and Shrews, 59th minute. That looks accurate as well. So hopefully my old pal In Play Guru is back up and running. I would include the Bundesliga for the potential for overs. So let's have some fun with that while we're waiting to see what happened in that Arsenal match. Austria Vienna or Grazza and Wattens. The only reason I'd be doing overs here possibly would be the reputation of the league. Austria Vienna and Wattens. So don't forget, this is the experimental mode currently. Austria Vienna and Wattens. So, but after 15 minutes, have a look at what 1.5 goals is. If it's relatively high, no, 2.5 goals. Again, you're getting over evens.
Goal.
We're just
Bolton
hoping.
Shrewsbury is 2-2.
There we go, Bolton 2-2. So I've thrown away 192 quid. What a pity. Oh. Yeah, you might hear me break down now. But you never know with these League Ones, you see. But you're either with the pre-match or you're not. If you're with the pre-match odds of 1.3, you're with Bolton throughout. And you're getting really good odds about a Shrewsbury lead. If you go neutral, you see the big advantage of going neutral. Who cares? As long as we get a shed load of goals. So I've gone for overs in Austria. It's not a recommendation. Don't forget, I'm experimenting here to see if we've got a viable. Or, indeed, if I can pick a good strike rate of goals before half-time and over 2.5 goal matches, or at least a goal before, or a goal second half. Over 2.5 goal, 3.3, relatively high, but only 20 minutes in. But these two could collapse. You never know. So we'll monitor these with interest. Again, don't forget, if you're using that, make sure you can monitor these matches, and then you'll be alerted by the suspend sound when there's a suspended market, and then you can look at the goals. And the great thing about this is, well, it can show you your current position. So profit and loss here, show you where you haven't greened up, etc. So Bolton and Shrews, for example, overs is in, match odds are cashed out, but look at this now, down to odds on. You could have backed them at those whopping odds for a 1.3 shot. I'll take that every day of the week. Man City and Fulham, well, we're out of that, aren't they? They're leading currently. Bochum and the Wolf have already cashed out of that one. So let's just do a catch up. And Karaguku, 1.3 pre-match favourite, no show. So this is a problematic one, isn't it? What do we do? And Karaguku, How do we take our loss? How do we control our losses in these neutral markets when it's not going your way? This might give us an answer. So, Ankara Gucu, I'm sure I'd played this one, and I spelt it correctly as well. Ankara Gucu. No. Unless this is one of those matches which has long been gone. And it's the Guru messing things up again. Yeah, it's long gone. Okay. So I was hopeful that I could follow this just to see where or at what time we'd get a third of liability as loss or a half of liability as loss. But here in this case, it's a max liability. 1.3 favourite. Could be the choice of league, couldn't it? I keep telling you, we're heading down to these dodge pot leagues. Then they start getting troublesome. So let's just catch up with England. Hopefully this is back up and it looks as if it's back up and running. Teplice again, 15 minutes in, I would have played over 2.5 because this is a newly promoted side. Swansea and Stoke is 0-0. Got 6 shots on, 10 off for the Swans. Is that enough to tempt you in to lay the draw or to back over 1.5 goals, of course? We can have a look at that one. Swansea and Stoke. So let's have a look. My options here would be either lay the draw if you fancied him. I don't know too much about Swansea or Stoke. I would have to research, but in-play stats, it looks like one-way traffic, 6 shots on, 10 off. All dependent on, well, only the 1 shot second half. So that puts that into perspective a little bit, and only the 1 shot. So this was all first half. So I'm just going to put the brakes on very, very quickly. Bolton v Shrewsbury, possibility of laying that draw, given the comeback for Bolton. So we're going to pass that on to Telegrammers. It's at the kind of odds where you would lay that draw. Bolton v Shrewsbury looks like a one you can lay the draw at, heading towards evens, about 2.3. Bolton have come from 2 goals down to equalise 2-2. So highly likely with 24 minutes to go that they can finish the job here, make it 4 wins in the last 5 matches. Again, you're looking at a 1.3 favourite and you're saying those odds look good value, don't they? They've already scored 2 goals, so they're not goal shy. And they do concede as well. So laying a draw is perfect. As long as they put a cherry on top and get the 1.4 scoreline that you expect, which would be a win, of course. So let's have a look at the draw odds in this one. And be looking at evens or thereabouts. 2.54. So what you could do, double up your liability, double up your existing profits and see if you can bump it up to 56 quid if Bolton can get the win. Costing you nothing. Or, well, it's costing you 34 quid that's yours now, but this is an option if you don't want to use your betting bank and you've already secured a green. And the great thing about this, you can always change your mind by clicking on this button here. So if you think you've made the wrong decision and you quite fancy that 34 quid, keeping that in your bank, then you can always get that back. But if you want the chance with some 24 minutes to go of a 1.3 favourite, already scoring 2 goals, to get a third, then we're up and running. And we're also up and running with Bournemouth. Lovely jubbly. This, as I said to you, would have been another one of my over 2.5 goal plays based on Leicester being newly promoted. Bournemouth doing a wonderful job against the likes of Everton. So let's have a look. Over 1.5 goals is in the bag. Has a goal been disallowed? It has, I believe. I think the Bolton goal, the Bournemouth goal has been disallowed. And Austria Vienna scoring already, and I've just got involved in that one, so let me just show you that. Arsenal making it 2-1. So let's Yeah, the Bournemouth goal being disallowed. I was just heading over here to confirm whether it had stuck or not. We're expecting an Arsenal goal here. That's where that red dot suggests a big chance or a goal. Hasn't come up yet. Well, let's hope VAR are on our side in the meantime. And that's confirmation of the Arsenal goal. Fantastic stuff. Nice and easy, isn't it? With these big guns you can thoroughly rely on. Leicester Bournemouth, this is insurance on the overs, as you can see. So we needed that Leicester goal. Needed that Bournemouth goal to stick. It was at the right time, 66 minutes. Now this is a dilemma we face. Or I've taken insurance out in this instance, so I'm fairly calm. Let's head on over to Arsenal. I wish Arsenal and Man City could concede first every day of the week when they're at home. It would be very useful to my betting bank, that's for sure. It's not a huge amount, is it? Why is it not a huge amount? Because I didn't get that lay of Southampton at 3.6 on. That would have bumped this by a further 20 quid. No, would it? Because it's fixed liability, so it wouldn't have. It would have probably bumped it by another 10 or 12 quid or thereabouts. So that should be a lot healthier. You must cash out. Okay. And look at this for a redemption match for West Ham, as I told you. Playing the right team today to get the first win of the season. Now that is an absolute mystery. Wow. What on earth's gone wrong with Leverkusen? Post-Champions League, pre-international break perhaps. They've got a lot more internationals in the side. Teplice, Dukla Prague. Newly promoted Dukla Prague getting the goal. And there's the Arsenal. Is it VAR? Oh, boy. Kai Havertz. There we go. These are the two they should have had on from the start. Martinelli and Trossard. I thought this was wrong, but it's probably a necessity because of the Champions League and the international break. But having these two on from the start, you wouldn't be in this bind at the moment. So we're just waiting to figure the goal is. And as you can hear, goals are coming in. So we go back to that's the sound you'll hear when a goal comes in an odds-on favourite match. But you've got to have it on the My Games facility there. So, wow. I'm still in shock. I might have to have a lie down after that one. Ibar Sporting Gijón. The goal looks to have been allowed. Let's just confirm that. No, it's still VAR'd there, but it normally has a VAR next to its name.
This market has been suspended.
It hasn't been scrubbed off yet on Football 24, and it's still confirmed there as well. And these are our short prices. That was still gave you a profit for overs. That one disappointed hugely. But again, overs. Simple. If you rely on the pre-match odds, you've just got to wait to create value in play when you're dealing with short price favourites. Hope you're all okay over at YouTube. I'll call it a day at 5 o'clock probably. So let's just make sure, because this Ankara Guku already miles away. Fred as well is done. And Swansea and Stoke, again, that seems as if it's been paused, which is a problem. So let's have a look. Swansea and Stoke stats. Yeah, 6 shots on, so it's not paused. They've just had a really poor second half. So that's something for you to remember. That looks compelling. Bang! I was going to pile in, lay the draw. But make sure you know the times of your shots. 51st minute shot on target. If you're looking purely at second half shots, they haven't turned up, the Swans, have they? So I'm not going to be laying the draw there. Possibly laying the draw here. Bundesliga beginning. Austria Vienna. Did I cash out of that one? Let's have a quick look. Austria Vienna. Oh, we're going overs, aren't we? Over 2.5. There they are. So just the one goal from Austria Vienna after 32 minutes. And it's the return you expect. As I say, £14 or thereabouts. If you back over 2.5 goals after 15 minutes, cash out with the first goal before half time, you're going to get around £14 to, I think we've had today, £19. If you want to get out with just one goal in an over 2.5 goal market. Let's see if that one gets matched. And you can free up your 40 quid then. But don't forget, if the underdog scores first, you might want to stay in like you did with Dortmund, because you'll be expecting that second goal and you'll be expecting that response as well. So that one goal produces a profit. Bang. I don't know if I did Wolfsburg and Harburg. That goal came before 15 minutes. So this one is still quiet. I don't know, 2.6, the market might not be the type of match to focus for these overs. We will find out. The only way to learn is to do it in the live market, isn't it? That way you're going to make your own decisions. Do I bail out of this one? Have I chosen the right league to do an overs play? Can I trust this team, etc.? So let's just free up a bit of that. Vaslin Beveren, well, we got a goal there, so let's just check that one out. Beveren. And I think having too many of these on the go at once could be problematic as well. So successful overs betting or trading, maybe pick your battles. So that's 103 for overs. I didn't do any unders insurance. It's going to be far too high now. So that was just the one goal coming in. Are you going to take the loss? Because you need to know. Let's have a look at the Beveren match. How much time is left? 20 minutes to go. So you have to weigh up. And there's a red card in play as well. I think there's a red card in play for Locker and Tenenza. So these are the decisions you make. Do I take that £15 loss? Because I said that would be my tolerable loss. Or do I look at the circumstances? There is a red card. It's an odds-on favourite at home. Can they deliver the equaliser? Are you willing to take the hit in the hope of getting that goal? Because if they do score, you're going to get a marked increase in the 2.5 goal or marked drop, because the red card will be a huge impact on the overs market. So dilemma. We're going to take the hit at 15, or am I staying in with the red card, knowing we've got a real possibility here of a huge profit? Now I'm experimenting again here. What if I cover the 1.5 goals? Again, it's going to cost me 40 quid, but you've seen that £100+ So again, please remember, I'm thinking aloud in front of your very eyes. This is not a strategy which is completed yet. So if I back under 1.5 goals, sorry, I needed to cover that cluster of score lines because it's getting a bit late. So let me get out of that straight away. Back under 1.5 goals as insurance. The thought being, if Beveren can work their way through the 1.5 goals, start getting that 103 working for us. So let's just get on that again. There we go. So £37 profit if we get under 1.5 goals. It looks as if my commission amount has changed. It's normally a lot less than that. So if we can get that, hopefully ignite this, and the profit you make will be better. Probably not going to work, but this is a whole thing about experimenting, isn't it? So we've got that single goal for Lokeren all day long. This just has the good feel of the kind of a match you'd expect. We've got a red card, odds on at home, but the only problem is it's one of those dodge pot leagues, isn't it? So let's have a look through. Make sure we're not missing any. Oh, we've got connection problem there. Disconnected now, definitely. So I've got to go back to the scanner and choose all the leagues and have a quick look through. We haven't touched League One, League Two. Why? Because we've had better quality elsewhere. We've had Arsenal, Man City, far better than Crewe Alexandra and Congleton Town and Leyton Orient. No offence to those sides, but I'd prefer to put my faith in this lot with their forward line. I think we're in with the possibility of that Leicester 1-0 or 1-1. I think 10 shots off 7 corners to 0 for Bournemouth. This is when insurance is paying, is helping you here, because you're with the right side. They just need to cross that line, don't they? Just need to get that goal. 13 minutes to go. West Ham, excellent performance today, as you'd expect. Redemption match. Finding it very difficult to win. Playing the right team today to get a win. And this is a rarity. 2-0 for the Blades. Wow, did Sean Bean come on second half? And again, Swans, it's all first half action. It's warming up slightly. 3 shots, on target, only the 1 shot on target. 3 shots off target second half. And the 2 corners. Still not going to lay that draw just yet. Despite recent matches suggesting it shouldn't end a 0-0. And this was a surprise as well. West Brom and Millwall. Let's just see the damage and how and why we must have an exit, or we must have an insurance play in mind.
This market has been suspended.
So over 1.5 goals.
It has been suspended.
How do you sort this one out? West Brom and Millwall. So my ideal exit point would be, firstly, third of liability, £13. Is that going to buy you enough time? I might take it up to £20. That could buy you enough time for that single goal. Wow. The only reason I got this one, just the recent fightbacks from these sides. And Man City make it 3-1. So please remember, 3-0, 3-1, any other home score for these shorties is what we normally expect. We should have expected 3+ goals from Bayer today, but that has a feel of fatigue about it, or I'm doing Holston Kiel an injustice. So both getting the wins from behind, nice and simple trading strategy. That's your basic trading, isn't it? Let's have a walk through. I'll just get rid of a few of these peripheral leagues. But again, all leagues could be of interest now, particularly with the overs in mind. And that will open up the ladies' football, which is normally an absolute goal fest, isn't it? With the right teams. You've seen we play the professional development leagues and Premier League 2. Excellent for goals. And again, you can still profit. You expected goals galore, but you waited 15 minutes. You backed over 2.5 goals. They scored before half-time. You're out. And it ends 1-0. You've still profited on overs in a match which has ended 1-0. Amazing stuff. So there's that red card. 11 corners, all very good, but not really piling on the pressure, are they? Teplice and Dukla Prague again, if you look, over 2.5 goals. Now we've got the dilemma here, like Martigues earlier on, newly promoted side. Can they take advantage? Well, they've not shown it just yet. Must be a recent red card, 79th minute. I don't think Dukla Park have it in them, but you never know. Newly promoted, chance to get 3 points away from home when it's not expected. Again, this might open the door for overs now in Northern Ireland and all these other interesting leagues. Bolton and Shrews just waiting for the possibility of a win for Bolton if they can cross that line. Elsewhere, 1.65 Exeter did get the goal. And again, timing, was it first half, 23rd minute again. Over 2.5 goals after 15 minutes. Get a goal before half time. Get out with about a 14 to £19 green. And you don't have to worry about it being overs for the rest of the match. This is the good and bad of playing these lower leagues. Normally you're expecting goals galore, aren't you? But that would be a troubling... Well, that would be a profitable one. 54 minutes if you backed over 1.5 goals. But would you have done, perhaps? 1.75 away side. As you can see, the only problem we have with these overs is when it doesn't go our way. We need to take a predetermined loss or get out at a predetermined time, say 70th minute, that kind of thing. Just to build up some potential late plays. Desmond Tutus, Chesterfield and Walsall, 2.15 is a favourite pre-match. Any odds on favourites who are struggling? Well, Swindon Town, 1.67, 11 shots off target and a corner. Want to lay that late draw? So we'll star those ones. Championship, not really tradable, alas. But again, these lower tiers in Scotland, you can see plenty of potential for goals. SPL as well. Watford 2, Middlesbrough 1, and Blackburn have equalised against Plymouth. It was far too good to last, wasn't it, for Wayne Rooney, football genius there. So we're just got to catch up with the in-play stats because we've missed all of these lower tiers, but we've had better football in its place, really. And I hope you've enjoyed the look into neutral plays. And if you've got any ideas of your own, let me know. I think the key to success would be to create for yourself a shortlist. It'll be interesting to see how many of these shortlisters saw at least a goal before half-time and overs afterwards. These are all the odds-on favourites today. Atalanta later on against Genoa stands out. PSV as well, expecting it. Same odds as Manchester City and Arsenal, so you know what to expect. Inter Milan. Torino, good defensively, but Inter should be eyeing 3 points. Utrecht, been full of goals of late. In the right league for overs as well. So these would be good for 15 minutes, wouldn't they? Real Madrid as well. Tenerife, odds on, at home. And again, if we get 15 minutes, or if we get a 0-0 at half time, you work to either one of those two. Up to you. You can see the potential. These are all odds on. And we're still getting these goals. Did we get the goal early enough? That's the thing. So this could be something that you look at tomorrow. Check out the odds on favourites and see how many of these matches saw goals before half-time. And what do we do with a loss like this? That's the question. Maybe if you back it before half-time, over 2.5 goals, perhaps get out to 2.5 goals at half-time if you don't get the goal you expect. That will reduce your losses markedly. And maybe go then to the over 1.5 goals. So we've got plenty to think about there. So these are all the odds on favourites. So I don't see any upsets. But as you can see, that Bolton 2-2. Swindon against Harrogate. 1.67 favourites. That's a surprise not to see goals. There's a red card taken off there. Saint-Etienne and Auxerre. Yes, they weren't odds on, were they? But possibilities to take on Saint-Etienne today. Really ropey. Newly promoted. 3-1 to the Arsenal. As I said to you, 3-0, 3-1, any other home score. Perhaps sticking a 2-0, given what they do against... well, you couldn't put a 2-0, could you? At Southampton, 0-1 up. So, good stuff. We've got the 3-1 covered. I do hope you paid attention when I mentioned 3-1. But Man City, bit of a worry at 3-2. How long is left? Well, it's the 89th minute, 3-1 for the Arse. This could be squeaky bum time for Manchester City, with Rodrigo Muniz just putting it up at the very end. So we'll see if City will survive there. So coming to the end, as you can see, it's far better doing the Guru because I've already got the matches I'm interested in at the top. So maybe this would go to another level if we could pick, and that then go to the very top rather than it being on its own or us just viewing by selected games. I'd rather not do that because you have to go back again. Then, do they stay selected? That's the question. So, a little way to go to be on a par with the in-play Guru, I think. 3 shots on 10 off 5 corners, 7 dangerous attacks in the last 5 minutes for the Baggies. Odds on favourite at home earlier on. Do you fancy a late lay the draw there? Swans, well, you know the story there, don't you? It looks bright for the vast majority of them first half. West Brom and Millwall, we can bring it up. I could show you potentially drip laying. And we've got this match up already, West Brom and Millwall. So I've got to figure out a way of getting out with not a maximum loss. You could experiment as well in delaying. Don't just wait 15 minutes. But it seems a strange time because you get a lot of goals, 18 minutes, 17 minutes, 22 minutes, very quickly afterwards. The draw is at 1.21. You could possibly drip lay if you wanted, keep your liability low. I'll show you how to do that. 1.2, I'm looking to win a fiver, or whatever amount you want. The more you win, the more your liability is. So I'll experiment with a tenner. Liability should be about £9 at the end of this. So lay at 1.2. Lay at 1.14 to win a tenner. Normally a fiver, just trying something different. Lay at 1.09. Now you're going to be winning under £2, so that could be 22 because we've doubled up. And your liability is likely to be about £8 or less. If you get a very, very late goal here, you'll be in clover. So £32 keep you under the £2 liability. 5-2 for Brentford and Dundee Kilmarnock 2-2. Didn't have a play there. So this is drip laying. You can leave this now. These will get matched if we get to these particular odds. And as you can see, the lower the odds, the more you can win because your liability is kept to a bare minimum. So just out of interest, I like, 10 shots off target, but it's been a very, very defensively led match, hasn't it? But keep your liability low. Take on these late 2-2s or 0-0s. Moreirense and Santa Clara. I don't know if these are good 2.5 goal merchants or not. Let's just finish off this. And I'll say goodbye to you at 5. And I'll be on Telegram for members of footballtradingprofits.com from 5 o'clock. Just for a little bit longer. It looks a good coupon today. We've got some really big guns later on. Chance to make some money. And for me to continue practicing this neutrals avenue. As you can see, it pays off in certain matches where there's a shock result. League One, any 0-0s late on to take on. Stockport County against Wigan. 4 shots on target. Last one, 77th minute. 74th minute. They've not done anything for going on 15 minutes. So I wouldn't be laying that draw there. It's a really good addition, this pre-match odds. You've got to know them as a trader. You've got to know who the favourite was, particularly if you're like me. You do tend to take as your main guide the pre-match odds. They reveal the market's expectation about the match. It's been amazing. There's been no trading goals popping in today. It's been a quietish on that front. Swindon Town, 11 shots off target. Goodness me. Again, if 1.67, might as well do it, because you know how low the liability will be. Why on earth were they 1.67 pre-match, and why have they failed to score? And can they salvage that with a late winner? We'll soon find out. 1.22. So again, let's up this to a tenner. It's normally £5 because that's about a £4.60 liability. If you want to increase your liability, you'll increase your returns, of course. It's all relative. So looking to win a tenner at 1.25.
This market has been suspended.
Next, 1.19, looking to win a tenner. Next, 1.14, sorry, looking to win a tenner. Next, 1.09, looking for a £2 liability. Okay, as you can see there. There we go, 23 quid. And the last one, 1.06. But again, looking for a £2 liability. This ensures that you will capture any late goal without it costing you too much liability-wise. The reason we have to keep our liability low, because we haven't got much time left. The clock is not our friend. So you've got to be mindful. I want to dip my toe in, but I don't want it costing me too much. So now you can leave this one alone. If a goal is scored, you will profit. If there's no goal scored, you know your liability will be about £9. The liability is normally, I normally do this to £5 stakes. The liability is normally about £4.60. And you can pick up some really big wins, particularly if you get a late winner. That's why I like to just look at the nil-nils late on and take on one or two of them and hope for the best. So let's go through our odds-ons. Coming to the end. Insurance is going to pay out here in the Leicester match. But we've got a great idea of Paul Dunwoodies, which actually came in last week with Hearts. Here's what you do. We're coming to the end of a match. The side you wanted to score hasn't scored, but the side leading hasn't scored as well. What you can do, cash out of your under 1.5 goals, costing you about a £5, with the chance of doubling your money if Bournemouth win. Okay, so cash out. This normally covers your loss on Bournemouth. But look at this now. You're guaranteed £35 of your Bournemouth stake back. Where are we? We went Bournemouth +1, didn't we? You are guaranteed £35 of that £40 stake back. If Bournemouth equalise late on, you will win a 50 quid here and you'll win the money here. But it looks as if you can hear those whistles. Looks like we're coming to the end of the match. It's not confirmed yet. There it is.
This market has been suspended.
Insurance is paid out. You break even, Leicester and Bournemouth. You're involved to the death with the right team. They did score a goal. This is an exceptional win for Leicester today against a really solid side in Bournemouth. They'll be delighted with that one. So let's just see as much as coming to an end, and I'll say goodnight to you. Again, neutral over fancying a side in League One. What would you prefer? The neutral avenue, wouldn't you? The value angle in was at 0-2 to the Shrews to start with. Backing Bolton at 7s, you'd have got out at the 2-1. I'll just get rid of that. It's getting a little irritating. Thank you. Let's have a look at how our shorties got on and who's coming up. Cluj at 5 o'clock. AEK Athens at 5:30. Maccabi Haifa, Partizan, PSV, Lech Poznan, Inter, Real Madrid, Sporting. So these I have my eye on 15 minutes, bare minimum. Back over 2.5 goals, look for a goal before half-time. That's what the pre-match odds are suggesting. That's the only reason I've chosen these teams. I haven't researched them or anything. 1.42, for example, you're expecting a goal before half-time. Yes, they're away from home, AEK Athens, 1.4. I would prefer 1.3 or lower, if I'm being absolutely honest, for goals before half-time. More like this, 1.28. So wait for 15 minutes, or as long as you can. Back over 2.5 goals, hope for a goal before half-time. If you don't get one, consider cashing out if the loss is minimal. Or wait for 0-0 at half-time. Then back over 1.5 goals and hope for an early goal. And you can last until about the 74th minute for a marginal loss. Even with a goal scored in the 74th minute, you saw with Udinese, just make a slight loss. So it's very, very appealing, 1.5 goals. We just need to solve the exit at loss problem because, as you've seen, there's been a few of them today. Have a great day. Thank you very much for coming along to the live stream. Great to see you. Yes, Stephen. I've been thinking about that, backing 0-0 pre-match. But 1.5 goals, you've got the problem of the 1-0 and the 0-1. So those have to be covered as well. I've looked into the correct scores as well, where you're trying. Let's have a look at some of my earlier efforts. Oh, it's just sorry about that. I was going to show you my earlier efforts. Should be on this list here. So we're talking earlier on today. As you can see, liquidity is a big issue as well. There's a lot of Asian matches you couldn't play. So Kofu, if we can get that one up. This Nara one as well. Oh, it's not responding. Okay, so I'll call it a day. It's 5 o'clock. Thanks very much for coming along to the live stream. I hope you made a good green screen today. I'll see you for another couple of hours because there's some really good matches this evening and we should have a good opportunity to make some dosh. Thanks very much for coming along. Thanks a lot for your input as well. And I'll see you members of footballtradingprofits.com. Yeah, it's plenty to think about, Gary. I'm trying. I think these short odds and odds-on favourites could be the way to go, as well as certain leagues, Gary, like if we look yesterday, for example, good example, overs yesterday, Professional Development League, etc. Looks as if this is frozen. So it's telling me to leave the live stream, basically. So plenty to think about. This is a great advantage of doing it in the live market. You can get to see the problems as well. But I think it's all about match choice, getting in at the right time and getting out, covering your losses at a predetermined amount or a predetermined time. Thanks very much. Have a great day. Any 2.5 goal ideas, pass them on. Looks as if I'm locked out. So I'll end the broadcast now. Have a great rest of your evening. I'll see members on Telegram a bit longer, a bit later.